So just to save time, we're doing this just to save time for my own sanity and everyone else's sanity. We're doing this whole shit in a solo session. Oh god, my back is tight.
If I don't respond immediately, I am here. I'm just eating chips.
Ah, you got French fries. I'm kidding, but context for everything, hon.
I guess to fill the void, my chips are sour cream and onion.
Sorry, I just had to bring a cup down and I had to turn off the TV because I'm going to be walking. But...
Fair.
Saburo wished to take Shalelu and Orin off to the side to discuss certain details, correct?
Kind of, yeah. Mostly just get them slightly more acquainted since, compared to the rest of the party, Shalelu was actually kind of well aware of,
Saburo's station.
Yeah, doesn't know exactly what he is, but knows that he's not just some petty thief.
He's a blue thief.
Yeah. So, yeah. I'd say this is probably after the shenanigans in the bar kind of calmest.
I would say... Now, you can choose to discuss this in the bar, or you can go off into the woods if you wish, because remember, you're still at the Red Dragon Inn, which is where the red triangle is, or pink or magenta.
Magenta.
Yeah, it's more magenta.
Yeah.
So it's not that far of a walk. I'd say probably like maybe 30 minutes.
I was gonna say maybe not exactly still in the Red Dragon, but maybe not so much in the woods as maybe like down at the pier or something. Somewhere that these guys at least aren't.
Yeah.
So, kind of doubt they'd have any reason to go down to the docks. But, you know, that is, me. Saburo.
Tiny.
Yes.
Also, for some reason, the token defaulted to 10 HP.
Eh.
Why did it do that? I'm so confused why.
I mean, it's not that big a deal right now.
It's weird. But whatever. So yeah, you're somewhere around the docks. Yeah. Which... Same point at a glance. There we go. Which number 42 would be... Which would be the docks just outside the fat man's feed bag. which
Okay.
it's described as if the Hagfish is Sandpoint's most popular tavern, Fat Man's Feedbag is the most notorious. Bar fights are common, and Sheriff Hemlock has to come down here 2 or 3 times a week to sort them out, when they particularly grow violent or loud. The majority of the clientele here are Verisian scoundrels or less than reputable sailors.
Fair enough. Excuse me.
You are excused.
Yeah, and he probably had said to both Shalelu and Aron to meet him probably a little after sundown or something.
Yeah.
Just kind of give them time to do whatever it is they want and or need to do, and then all that jazz.
Can you still hear music fine?
Yeah, I hear it.
Awesome. So how are you standing at the dock? Like you're sitting down with your feet dangling off the side. Maybe you took off your boots a little bit so you don't get wet.
He's probably sitting cross-legged on the edge of the pier.
Is he fishing?
Nah. He'll leave that to the sailors so he don't get dunked.
Okay, I'm just reading more things about Sandpoint. Sorry, I got a little distracted.
He's fine.
ADHD brain and all that other good stuff. So, Shalelu shows up first.
Oh man.
You almost don't recognize her in just outside her armor. She's just wearing just slacks, boots, and just a kind of loose, like, hemp shirt. Or cotton, but like you know the type I'm talking about.
Yeah.
What would be essentially be that, like, almost equivalent of like a cheap polo almost.
I get you.
But you know the style of what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I get you.
And she just walks out onto the dock, and just one of the. Actually, no, I'm gonna say that for a little bit after, but she walks out to the dock towards you, and so like, and she just sees you sitting there, and just leans up against one of the pier poles, and just so, what do you want? What do you need to discuss? You're usually not like this.
He's probably still a little clammy from Oren first showing up, and he's just like, well, I do try to keep certain things to myself, but are you familiar with the man that brought in the boar earlier?
Her ear is angled down slightly as she thinks, and just made a clean cut and dressed it well enough.
He goes, well, he's not just some random hunter that wandered into town. Let's just say it's probably best if you know who he is.
And you're going to tell me.
He probably thinks on it in Vermont. He'll be here shortly. It'd be better to just properly introduce you.
And as soon as you say that, you hear the equivalent of the Wilhelm scream and then a splash. As you see Oren walking out from... Ow! out from the fat man's feed bag, and walking towards the two of you. You take a you hand her to take a guess at what happened.
Bar fight, and he won.
No, he defused one.
Close enough. That's a case of the close enough. and
And he's walking there just in his usual garb. His coat, his arm is still slung within his coat.
yeah, Saburo's response is, and speak of the devil. At that point, he probably begrudgingly stands up.
And Orin just stands there, looks at Shalelu, looks at you, just stands there stoic and stalwart.
Sorry, this is just the equivalent of the Wilhelm scream comedy.
If I had a sound clip, I would have played it.
Oh, trust me,
But
I
I
would have
don't.
too.
Unfortunately, it's copywritten.
Regardless.
Really? The screen itself is copywritten?
Probably because it's used as a stock effect. But
I don't want to take any chances. And also, Dark, you're supposed to be muted.
But Saburo kind of gestures vaguely in Shalelu's direction. Goes, Horan, this is a friend of mine that I've met here in Sandpoint. Her name is Shalelu.
Pleasure. I've seen some of the game you brought in. And to that she replies with a nod and compliments him on the board that he brought in, noting how clean his cuts were, not just with slaying the beast, but also dressing up to be cooked, and possibly and also to the point where he actually saved all the bones and tusks to be sent over to be made out of scrimshaw, or even just used in other everyday products, because bone armor is also a very popular thing.
I was gonna say the ribs would be good for leather burnishing.
The what?
Bones are typically used for pounding leather into shape.
Yeah, exactly. So the ribs would look good for that. Bone armor.
Exactly. But after that, he kind of looks to.
Everybody could be used as maracas.
He kind of looks over at Shalelu and goes, and this is Orin. And he kind of hesitates, and you kind of see him wiggle his fingers a little bit. He is my retainer.
So you were more than just some puffed up noble then.
He kind of flounders a little bit. He's like, I suppose you could say that. Just figured since you are already aware that I'm more than a petty thief, that you should at least know why he's hanging around.
Well, I already knew that you were more than just a petty thief, because a petty thief would have left after that dragon job.
He just kind of shrugs.
And Orin just stands there and just in his rough gravel. I've heard the name that your party has made for themselves here in this rather unlucky town, and the fact that you've been helping them out for an extended period of time, Shalelu. And she nods and then looks over to Saburo to see if he would rather divulge to Orin the details, the finer details of the raid on Thistletop, Sandpoint, the glassworks.
He probably kind of thinks about it for a bit, and
Nearly getting accosted by a horny fangirl.
he'd probably leave that part out. But yeah, he probably spends some time recounting the events of everything with the party, dealing with all the goblins and the Bargist and the Quasit and all of those shenanigans that have kept him here in town for the while. And basically, by the time he reaches the end of it, he just kind of realizes, I have had more brushes with death than I would care to admit.
I think Cobb would top you on that one.
Oh, certainly, but Saburo is definitely the frailer one.
Yeah. And I've heard the majority of what you've done here with saving the rather friendly innkeeper and proprietor of the Rusty Dragon, and as well the raid on Thistletop, as you've greatly so described it. But again, I just want to make sure, because I still want what's with your best interest, if you can hold your own. Because, and he looks over at Shalelu, she can most certainly hold her own. But as far as I know from the paper trail you've left by basically scabbing everything back and forth from your manor to the port.
He probably has a bit of an angry flick of the tail. He goes, well, I've certainly gotten better with my sword training since I've been actually fighting some things compared to the show that I was expected to train for.
Are you talking yourself up, or are you actually...
I'd say, given my track record of roles, I'd probably say he's actually telling the truth. Like
Fair enough.
He's not trying to bluff it. He's like, no, I've gotten better with my sword. Which, my rolls would back that one up.
And also, just give me 1 second to do a roll.
Oh boy, I'm gonna snack on some chips.
Oh man. Oh god, I accidentally clicked the As tab. God, it's loaded all the named characters possible. Holy shit.
Good job, mate.
Yeah, that's fine. Everything's fine. It's working. Okay. Now, I'm going to roll separately for Shalelu, and also I want you to roll a bluff check as well.
Alright.
unfortunately, her bluff is not very good, considering that she has she has a charisma of 8.
Meanwhile, I have a
So
plus
basically,
9, and I'm rolling
so
a fucking
basically,
13.
her bluff is gonna be
Bad. I'd laugh if she rolls more than me.
why is 0 level spells on this sheet when strangers don't get 0 level spells? What the hell?
Probably just as a catch-all.
Probably. So a general charisma check.
Rolled 7.
Higher than you.
I said I'd laugh if she rolls higher than me. Guess what she did?
And you called it, and you said 7, so it does have
Somewhere
a 7 in it.
there. But, you know.
Anyway, his sense motive was entirely just for reading you two.
Gee. I wonder how bad how bad Saburo is at keeping secrets.
For Rogue, very badly.
I mean, yeah, but for him it seems almost fitting that he sees right through the damn kid.
Yeah, kinda. Ow. And he looks at he scans the both of you and just noticing your two's body language. And while another person would be able to just say, "Oh, they're just casually friends." Oren's been in this business for way too goddamn long, and he knows how to read people.
I think he also just knows Saburo enough.
Yeah, that too. And I'm assuming Shalelu here is the one you're interested in.
He probably lets out a light sigh of God damn it.
And you even know Shalelu's ears just perk up. She's keeping a cool face, but her ears perk up.
The ears tell all.
Just like how for you, your tail tells all.
Yeah. But
The stupid betraying tail.
yeah. He probably just sighs and goes, never much purpose trying to hide anything from you. But he kind of looks over at Jalelu. Let us remain that certainly she has caught my eye more than... He just kind of shudders. Ugh.
Note, you never actually told Shalelu the reason why you ran.
Nope.
Now, roll me another bluff check, because she's gonna read you for a moment.
Ah, yes, the very obvious shudder. Okay, roll 20.
What?
My dude.
Okay, roll that again to see if it happens again.
I'm going to guess before the modifier that I'm gonna roll a 7. Nope, lower. God damn, that's a 3. I have a +9 modifier, and I can't roll anything higher than a 15 on my bluff checks. It is a 4th level skill, and yet, or no, it's a second level point stance.
You got 2 ranks in it, and a
it's
high enough charisma.
It's a +9.
But hey, you rolled 20's not broken because I rolled something different.
Suppose. Nyeh.
Yeah. Is that what you just did?
Yes. That is my response. It's just nyeh.
Well, either way, she would have met it. But she's gonna but now because of the varying degree of success, she doesn't really get much from your language, considering your supposed arranged marriage. But all she gets is just a matter of, is this? And I'm assuming that you were put into a rather unfavorable situation, let's put it, back at home.
He kinda pinches the bridge of his muzzle. Well, I guess since all the cards are being put on the table anyway. He kinda turns to Shidley a little bit more and he kinda still has his arms full and he's like, kinda the point is that my entire family, as you have very well put together, are kind of rich. But at the same point,
I figured that.
I'm the fourth son. So anything that the family's gonna get is gonna go to my older siblings. But they want to make sure that the family name, the Mutskis, are, kinda getting their fingers in everything, let's say, and I don't want to be part in any arrangements that are not befitting of what I want. I mean, my oldest brother, he gets to pick his bride. And he just kind of pouts.
It just mutters, "Can pick his bread."
But he just kind of still has that expression. He's like, let's just say I feel a bit unappreciated back at home, so figured I'd take my own life by the reins and scurry on away. And he kind of looks over at Oren. I was doing pretty well until he managed to find me out here, and well, I hadn't skipped town yet, so it was only a matter of time before he caught up.
She just she just rubs the back of her neck, just processing all this. And then she just puts a hand on your shoulder saying, "There's nothing to be ashamed of wanting a fresh start. We've all done similar actions."
Yeah, but not everyone's in a position to do so. No offense, Oren, but much preferred if they hadn't sent you.
He just tilts his just tilts his head and just gives a half-ass shrug. My place to It's not my place to question most things within, well, obvious reason. And in this case, I didn't question their order to go find you.
Yeah. And he kind of looks back at Chile. Something I'm at least grateful for is that Oren here understands the concept of discretion. For some matter, no one else really knows about what he's doing around. Also because I asked him to keep things a bit more quiet.
It allowed Saburo here to develop some, we'll call it, practical skills growing up.
He just kind of lets out a little shrug. I mean, it's managed to get me this far.
Has now high or low?
Uh, with you, I'm gonna guess high. God Roll 20.
Furiously scrolling.
That was me opening my soda.
Oh, that was opening your soda? I've never heard soda sound like that before.
Yeah, it's just the cap.
Oh, it's a cap. I thought. and he just looks at you a little bit and does anyone else know your other particular talent?
He kind of puts a paw to his chin and goes, I think the closest is the Nagaji's seen me crawl out from somewhere, but no, I think I've kept that one pretty well hidden.
And then Shalelu just looks at Orin, looks at you, looks back to Orin, back to you. She's like, what are you talking about?
He kind of looks at her and probably like, how tall is like Shalelu? Like comparatively taller or shorter than Cobb?
Hold on, because I don't get actually a on.
And out of character, he means specifically being able to turn into small fox, because
Yes, small
Okay.
fox.
Okay, because I'm pretty sure it's the thing that most people know that Kitsune can just turn into people.
And I'm pulling up the Pathfinder wiki because I actually don't know how tall she is. Okay, apparently Pathfinder wiki's dead right now. Pardon.
It's not on her. It's not on her character sheet.
Nope, it's not.
Hmm.
I'm just trying to. Okay, so the best thing I could find is that she is 5'10", so I'm gonna say she's between 5'10" and 6 foot,
So about the same height as Cobb and Tatsuya.
essentially.
Yeah, he just kind of like motions with his paw for her to lean down a bit. Like not so Orin can't hear, but other prying ears.
She leans down.
Let's just say that I can make myself even smaller in terms of being a fox. Not something common amongst us Kitsune.
She raises an eyebrow.
He just kind of smiles a bit. Let's just say I could blend in real well with the other foxes in the forest.
You can tell, if anything, you can tell that there's not really much commotion, and whatever is, there's another bar fight happening at the happening at the Fat Man's feed bag, to the point where if you did such thing, no one would probably even glance at you.
Yeah, he probably still takes the quick glance around and probably perks his ear to note that loud crashing and probably the sound of a table breaking.
And then you see a chair fly out the door.
Yeah, he just probably goes, good enough. And he probably just kind of does a little whatever poof that it is that just tiny. Yeah, small fox.
Not the scale.
Yeah. And he probably just sits on the dock and looks up. He's even tinier than usual.
No, I don't think you can actually speak in with
With
while in
the-
this form,
I
because
don't
it is
think was-
considered a polymorph. Oh no, it's change shell. Change self.
Let's see here.
It functions as B shape 2.
Let's see here. Climb 60 feet. Swim, dark vision, low light vision, scent, grab, pounce, and trip. Yeah, it doesn't really say much about that.
Okay, so when you cast a spell. Okay, so as far as I can tell, you B shape 2 does not B shape as its spell does not let you speak, but considering that this is a racial feature and it only acts like it, I will fluff it just for the sake of things and simplicity. You can speak normally despite your adjusted anatomy.
Yeah. He probably still doesn't say anything at first other than and just kind of sits down and tilts his little fox head.
Hold up. She picks you up.
he
She picks you up and just holds you in her arms.
Yeah, he doesn't even resist and then just goes,
He's
convincing.
like, okay,
Yeah, he's just like, convincing, isn't it?
quite. As she's still holding you.
Like I said, he's not resisting it, so.
And you hear a snicker from Warren, and it's just, well, with that cat out of the bag now, there's just one thing that there's one. I'm pretty convinced. Now I'm absolutely convinced that you're rather adamant on staying here and not coming back. Considering what you've done and or might be doing in the future to help this town, and with whom you've found.
He probably turns to look at him and he goes, like I said, kinda would have preferred that they not sent you, because I was ready to fight, or rather flee again, but. And at this point, he probably wiggles a bit to tell Shalilo to put him down.
You managed to wiggle out, despite her best interests.
And he probably just changes back as he falls and just stands up again.
But I would still like to, as I casually yeet a pen.
The casual yeet. Okay.
I would like to prove to me that you can indeed handle yourself on your own. As he puts down his pack, you hear. Roll me a perception check as he puts down his pack.
Okay. Finally,
Hey.
something decent.
Finally, some decent fucking rolls.
Yeah.
But as he puts down his pack, and it's just the atypical drawstring cinch pack.
Mhm.
Just burlap. No, that's rawhide. Rawhide. There we go. You hear a faint jingle of what sounds like chains, but it's tiny chain.
Yeah, his ears probably perk at that.
And just using his one arm, he opens up his bag and just takes out from it. And just now you can clearly tell that this sounds like chainmail. And out from it, you just see this. I need to pull up my document so I can actually get the name right. This white and black chainmail that the chains are solid black, but there's a white or a lightness to it, and you immediately recognize what these are. These are actually these are the chains of shadow. It is a chain shirt made out of pure mithril that is actually as far as you know, an heirloom to your family, and you would have gotten this upon your apparent wedding date.
He just kind of looks at it. Huh. They really did want me back, huh?
Not did, they do. But again, considering that your interests and theirs don't exactly line up, they thought that taking this along with me to show you would act as some leverage. But I want you to prove against me. I want you to prove to me in 3 months that you can handle your own. Maybe not. Okay, maybe not 3 months, but in the near future. Yeah, let's go with that. In the near future, that you can hold and survive your own against me in combat.
He kind of leans back and folds his arms. Well, at least you're the reasonable type and not asking me to just fight you out here on the pier. You'd really have me 10 feet into the ocean. As he
Maybe
kind
not 10. Maybe not 10 feet. More like 5.
I mean, he just kind of gestures to his lack of anything. He's like, I got nothing on me right now. But it's also kind of noting that he's well aware of what he can do.
And even Shalelu just gives you a looks like, really? Not even a knife? As she just lifts up her leg and just takes out a dagger from her boot.
I mean, he probably has at least something small like that on him, but, you know, his primary weapon that he's been training in, he don't got that.
Still, it's just like, even Shalelu's like, bruh.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm not gonna carry a big ol' sword out to the pier. And then he looks at Orin.
But regardless whether you win or lose, if I deem weird.
Hmm.
If I deem your efforts come the near future to have shown that you've grown, you will get to keep this. And I will just stay here in town and supervise you. Not the hip like it was back at home, but just keeping an eye on you.
He kinda looks like he's pondering it for a second. I suppose that's a fair enough trade-off. Though, I must ask, if you were to remain out here, what would you tell my family? Hold on to that thought for a second. There in the back. You know?
Yeah, sorry, I had to clear my throat.
Mhm.
And what were you saying?
He asked if he were to stay out in Sandpoint, what would he tell the rest of his family?
As far as I know, I'm still looking for you. I haven't had contact with them in quite some time. Remember, I'm one of the best soldiers they have. What reason would they have to doubt me?
I suppose that's fair then.
And he extends his hand out to make the agreement.
Saburo doesn't even really hesitate and just kind of agrees.
And he gives you a firm yet not bone crushing handshake, but one just to affirm that he trusts you to steel your resolve in your own personal growth, to lead your own life, not just as a hero, but as a person. And especially considering that you are quite frankly dating Shalelu at this point.
Yeah.
I mean the rest of the party basically knows. Maybe not Oz, but the rest of the party basically knows.
Yeah, that's probably the most obvious thing that they could. And that if anyone asked him, "What do you know about Saburo?" and it's just like, "Well, he's dating the elf." Do you know anything else about him? No, not
Nope.
really. What? He doesn't talk about himself. He's a thief.
Yeah.
I mean, he'd have to trust Shillelagh a lot to be like, yeah, I could turn into a fox, I'm royalty. This guy is, well, hired by my family. You know, the usual shenaniganery.
Yep. And on that note, unless you have anything else to do, I feel like that is a cue for end scene.
Yeah, I think that's good enough for that.